We will now look at how to enter data on the cow-calf, livestock sale, livestock purchase, and livestock inventory worksheets on the Livestock tab. These worksheets are used for gathering information on the cow-calf operation. The cow-calf operation is the first phase in the beef production process. It is here that a farmer manages a cow herd to produce weaned calves for sale or transfer to a feeding backgrounding operation. Note the color scheme of the Livestock tab on the AgriProfit's Business Analysis program. To start, describe the beef enterprises on your farm. Is it a commercial or purebred herd? Do you retain heifers for the herd or do you purchase replacements? Do you sell all your calves at weaning or do you background or grass your calves? Cow-calf producers will need two types of information to complete the livestock worksheets: production records and financial records. The AgriProfit's Business Analysis program requires production information to calculate the enterprise physical performance. Most producers keep some sort of hard copy records to collect production information, such as herd inventory, reproduction, nutrition, selection, health, and other herd management data. With traceability requirements, many producers have transitioned to electronic cattle management software, such as herd books, CattleMax, or herd tracks. For financial information, the source of sale, purchase, and inventory data can come from the farm's financial statements, supporting schedules, and general ledgers. Cattle sales and purchase information is recorded on the farm's general ledger. The general ledger is used to collect and summarize financial transactions by a specific sale or purchase entry. Some general entries provide more information, such as units sold or purchased or price per unit. If detail is not provided, you can likely match the transaction to a specific bill of sale or sales invoice. The example shown here indicates the buyer and seller, animal gender, weight, sales price, brand, and the number of animals bought or sold. Opening and closing inventories can be found in the inventory schedules of financial statements or in your own records. These records can assist in giving you a list of livestock, weights, and gender, as well as current market value. The AgriStability Schedule 3 is part of AgriStability's annual filing requirements. It is an inventory worksheet that includes opening inventory, annual transactions such as births, sales, and deaths, and closing inventory. The AgriStability program provides compensation and support for participating producers who experience a decline in farm margins caused by production loss, increased costs, or market conditions. If you do not know the value of your livestock when you are completing your closing inventory, Two Good Sources or CanFax, or your local auction mart's market report. The first worksheet in the livestock module is the Cow-Calf Enterprise Worksheet. This worksheet captures the breeding herd profile. Start by answering questions 1 to 8 relating to the farm's herd profile. This information is used to calculate the Cow-Calf Enterprise benchmarks for the AgriProfit's Beef Economic Program. This worksheet collects the farm's production management information and practices. Questions 1 to 8 capture data on breeding age, soundness, weight, and body score. Information on winter feeding and grazing dates are used in calculating cost of production. Management practices such as herd sorting, feed testing, and bale weight are also captured. Questions 9 through 13 show the flow of your cattle from the breeding cycle for the current calf crop through the breeding cycle of next year's calf crop. Question 9 captures the breeding information of the calf crop. Make sure to report bred heifers and the rest of the cows separately. Question 11 requires the exact weaning date. If the farm has more than one weaning date, record each date and the average weight. The program will then calculate the average weaning date based on this information. Question 13 captures the breeding information in the reported year. On the Livestock Sales Worksheet, the focus is on reporting the production stock sales and/or transfers from the cow-calf enterprise. Let's start by reviewing the cow-calf production stock sales and transfer out worksheet. This worksheet allows you to record production stock sales and breeding stock sales. Enter only production stock sales cash and non-cash from your cow-calf enterprise. Enter your backgrounding feeder cattle sales only if you have not completed the backgrounding worksheet. Make sure you record the current market value of the transferred animals and do not include GST. Also, identify the live weight per pound. Specify the total average pay weight of the cattle and total or average gross value of cattle. For example, at least one of the following combinations must be provided: total weight and total gross value, average weight and average gross value, total pay weight and average gross value, or total gross value and average weight. The objective of the transfer concept in the enterprise analysis is to develop cost and return profiles for the product of each enterprise. Cow-calf enterprises produce weaned calves. Those that are not sold at or near weaning are transferred to another on-farm backgrounding feeding enterprise at a current market value. These calves are considered a non-cash purchase to your on-farm feeding backgrounding enterprise. At each step of the way, stock are valued, either on a cash or non-cash basis, to allow an analysis of different farm profit centers. Similarly, farm-raised replacement heifers are considered to be transferred into the cow herd at breeding time. The value used should be current market value, the amount you would pay for similar stock if you purchased them from another producer. On the Livestock Purchase worksheet, the focus is on reporting the purchases and/or transfers into the cow-calf enterprise. Data entry on the worksheet mirrors the Livestock Sales worksheet, the difference being the purchase and/or transfer in of stock into the cow-calf enterprise. On both the Livestock Sales and the Livestock Purchased worksheets, make sure you are listing the sales transferred out date that occurred during the surveyed year. If you are unsure about the exact date, approximate the actual date the transaction occurred. The Livestock Inventory worksheet is designed to show the livestock flow from opening to closing inventory. It shows opening inventory, annual transactions, and then the closing inventory. Start by completing the opening and closing inventory columns, headcount and estimated market value by category of cattle. The worksheet breaks beef production activity on the farm into two segments: the cow herd producing weaned calves, and any backgrounding or finishing activity, including retained ownership, purchased and/or custom-fed calves. Calves produced in the cow herd in the surveyed year will be valued at weaning, regardless of whether or not you sold them outright, retained them for feeding, or kept back heifers as future replacement stock. Any feeding stock on hand at opening or closing should appear on the backgrounding worksheet. Bred cows and bred heifers are those animals that at the start of the year you expected to calve in the surveyed year. Open and/or cull cows should be counted and valued separately from the main breeding herd. The Livestock Inventory worksheet also cross-checks that the information entered on the cow-calf, production stock sales, cow-calf breeding stock sales, and the production and breeding stock purchases worksheets is accurate. When filling out this section, make sure the sales, purchases, and deaths are matching what was provided on the mentioned worksheets. Check the purple column on the right-hand side of the table to make sure it balances to 0 for each row. Interfarm transfers plus weaned calves sold must equal the number of calves weaned on the cow-calf worksheet. If you have share cows, record only the portion you own. If you do not own share cows, record the value as 0. If you have feeder association calves, provide the value of advance and/or security deposit. The value of the advance should also be logged on the liability worksheet in the feeding stock loan row. The value of the security deposit is a receivable and should also be logged on the asset worksheet, current assets table, deferred livestock payments line. This ends this module. Remember to save your data frequently as you move through the worksheets. If you have more questions, refer to the AgriProfit's Help tab, AgriProfit's Data Entry Help Manual, or ask AgriProfit staff for help.